Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. My name is Nastasia, and today we're doing a very exciting video about hormones. And it's exciting to me because I am going over with you all the mistakes I made over the past few years when it comes to my hormone health. My health in general, but honestly, hormones specifically. All the mistakes I made that I now know better in. Little disclaimer here, I'm not giving medical advice. This is not meant to be medical advice. I am just telling you what, through my research, what I have seen and learned about hormone health and just healthy living in general and fueling my body with foods and all that jazz. So I'm going to be getting into some specific topics, but I am in no way saying that you have to do this. I think that decision is on you, it is not on me. And if you disagree with anything I have to say, that's okay. You don't have to leave a mean comment. Believe it or not, you can move on. But for real, who knows? Like in 5 years, I could come back and be like, oh, actually, they've come out with a new study that isn't good. Like, I don't know. This is just based off of the research I have done now in 2021. And yeah, I'm excited to get into it because I find this stuff really fascinating, and this video was requested by popular demand, surprisingly, by a lot of you. So yeah, before we get into it, if you end up liking this video, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you never miss out on a video every time I post. My Instagram is right here so you can see the behind the scenes of my life. And if you guys could do me a favor, if you guys like these videos, a way that you can let me know that, and by helping me out, that is totally free, is making sure that you watch it to the end and making sure you like it and leave a comment. The YouTube algorithm has been hating me lately. I don't know what that is for, if it's happening to everybody or if it's just because I'm a Christian. Like, I don't mean to just throw that card out there, but I don't know what it could be because I'm doing all the things you're supposed to do. So it would be a huge help to me because watch time's a big factor in that. If you enjoyed this video, to make sure you watch it to the end. That's super helpful. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Again, these are mistakes that I have made. This is things that I have changed in my life, the research I have done. So if at any point I'm like, oh, you don't want to do this, or you might not want to do this, or whatever, that's still not me telling you what to do. It's just the way I talk. This is just meant to give you information and hopefully help you make informed choices. So the first mistake that I made for my hormone health is being on the birth control pill. So the entire reason, I'm reading off of notes because I don't want to get any of this information wrong, but the entire reason the birth control pill works is because it actually shuts down the ovulation in your body. This is stuff I didn't know, by the way. And you might think that's not a big deal, but it really is, because shutting down your ovulation for any amount of time can cause long-term effects when it comes to trying to conceive one day or having a healthy pregnancy one day, or even just your health in general. As women, we are meant to have a full menstrual cycle. The birth control pill, there's so many things I could say about it. I'm probably gonna make a whole video just about this, but it's a lot of things that I didn't know. So keep that in mind. I was on it from my junior year of high school until about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago is when I got off of it. Anyway, but the reason I was on it was not even to prevent pregnancy, because I was saving myself until marriage, and by the time I got married, I was off of the birth control pill. So I was on it because I was told it would make my periods better, it would help my skin, it would make things lighter, all this stuff. But again, I'm probably gonna make a whole video about this, but basically those are all, they're not entirely true. There's a lot that goes into it. But also, the birth control pill is also classified as a group 1 carcinogen, meaning there's a risk of it causing cancer, specifically breast cancer. It can cause or contribute to PCOS, IBS, depression and anxiety, and nutrient deficiency. I have a feeling that this did not help my anxiety and depression, since I was on it for like a long time, like I think like 8 years. So most people who were on the birth control pill, especially for me, were on it for a long period of time, and they have very high levels of estrogen from that needs to be detoxed. So this is really where the hormones come into play. So the birth control pill can lead to an excess amount of estrogen in your body, and we already have, most people, an excess amount of estrogen. Especially for women, it's good to detox that excess estrogen. Like, that's how it's supposed to be. And I'll talk about this a little bit more later, but basically you don't want excess estrogen in your body. By the way, I found this out today. The birth control pill actually depletes the exact nutrients your body needs for a healthy pregnancy, a healthy baby, including folate, copper, B vitamins, zinc, and more. Plus, it usually increases our iron by a ton, which most of us do not. Again, this is not medical advice, but most of us in general, most people do not have an iron deficiency. Even if you think you do, you might not. And a lot of us actually have too much iron in our body, which can be very harmful to our bodies. And I know my birth control pill specifically had synthetic iron also in it. So that was just piling up my iron and increasing my estrogen and depleting my copper, which copper is needed to balance out iron levels. So it's a whole thing. All right, my next thing that I messed up for a long time was I was doing intermittent fasting. So before you get your britches in a knot, I get it. I was there, and the reason I was doing it mainly was for weight loss for a long time, because a lot of people say, like, that's the easiest way to lose weight. And it's, yeah, because you're drastically cutting your calories and then your body's gonna go into survival mode. But anyway, the point being, that's why I was mostly doing it. Actually, one of the worst things you can do for your metabolism, and your metabolism and your hormones are very tightly linked, if not directly linked. So keep that in mind. One of the worst things you can do for your metabolism and your hormones is skipping breakfast. You want to eat within 30 minutes of waking up. That is ideal for healing your hormones or keeping your hormones healthy. I'm gonna be doing a whole nother video about like the things I do now instead of these things, because this video would it's already gonna be long, just talking about the things that I am not doing anymore. So I am going to be going into more detail of that, but you don't want to skip breakfast. I used to fast every single day until like noon, and I would be so hungry. And it got to the point where I actually lost my hunger cues, which is a bad sign, friends. That's a bad sign. I didn't realize it was a bad sign. I thought, oh, my body's adjusting. Your body is basically now in a survival state. So it's adjusting to surviving, which means it'll actually cling on to fat. So it causes your blood sugar to go crazy, and it actually causes your stress hormones and your adrenaline to pump up, because your body is relying on that to function since it doesn't have any energy in it. This can also cause excess estrogen, which again, we do not want that, especially as women. Excess estrogen is almost always what causes those painful periods you might have, cramping, stuff like that, PMS symptoms, a lot of that. So I always thought this is just normal. Everybody has this. There's no way to fix it. It's common, but it's actually not normal. Like, your body with your periods, it's not meant to be painful. So if that blew your mind like it blew mine, seriously, usually that is a symptom of excess estrogen that needs to be detoxified out of your body. Not only that, but excess estrogen can cause a lot of fertility issues, pregnancy issues. Sometimes it can be one of those issues that leads to miscarriage. I'm not trying to scare any of you, I'm just trying to give you facts so that you're informed. And like I said earlier, if you don't have an appetite in the morning, that's actually a bad sign. So if you're also thinking, okay, you say I should eat within 30 minutes, but I don't have an appetite, or I get nauseous, or whatever, that is a sign that your hormones actually need some help. So it's totally okay if you can only start small with like a banana or like some oatmeal or a smoothie or something like that. If you can't eat a full-on like giant breakfast right away, that's okay, that makes sense. But try to build up to it, try to eat something. So the next mistake I made, which goes along these same lines, is fasted workouts. So it's the same kind of problem with intermittent fasting or skipping breakfast or all that jazz, is you're adding excess stress on your body, and especially when you're going for like kind of extreme workouts and stuff like that. If you're not just like taking a walk, if you're lifting weights, if you're doing some pretty strenuous exercise, you want to have some energy in your body for that. It's really not doing your body any good to do all of that really intense exercise without having any fuel, because again, it causes that stress hormone to release. You'll actually be holding on to fat, and it'll cause the blood sugar spike, it'll cause us excess estrogen, all that jazz. So it really does all go into each other. So even if I can't have a full meal before I work out, or I don't want to have a full meal, I'll have some kind of snack. I'll have a banana, I'll have I don't even know, some leftovers or something. Like, I will have something. And the more intense your workout is, the more you want at least some food in your stomach. So I mean, yeah, if you ate like dinner an hour before you went to the gym, you're probably fine, you know what I mean? But like, if you're going completely fasted, I just don't think it's a good idea. Okay, next, this is probably the longest portion of this video, just because you probably don't know what it is. I didn't know what it was for so long. So my next mistake was I was consuming so many PUFAs. So you might be thinking, as I was thinking when my friend told me this, what the hey is a PUFA? So PUFA stands, P-U-F-A is what I'm saying. PUFA stands for polyunsaturated fats. I'm gonna read this part so I don't mess up the science. Polyunsaturated fats have a double bond because they lack hydrogen atoms. Double bonds are stronger but more reactive to oxygen than single bonds, which are known as saturated fats. This makes the unsaturated fats more susceptible to oxidative stress. So that oxidative stress reacts to the food and produces something called free radicals. Free radicals are highly reactive and unstable molecules that are produced in the body naturally by exposure to toxins. Free radicals can severely damage DNA, which sometimes results in mutations. These mutations are what lead to things like cancer and other diseases. So I don't know if you know this, but I think it's 80% of all diseases are not known as genetic diseases. Like, usually they are caused by environmental factors, which doesn't just mean anything outside. It means your diet, your lifestyle, your exercise, anything outside of, like, you know, genetics, basically. 80%. And that makes a lot of sense to me now, studying more into nutrition and stuff like that. So antioxidants are what fight these free radicals by neutralizing the unstable molecules so that they reduce or completely eliminate damage to the DNA. So how does this relate to PUFAs? The way I understand it, when something contains PUFAs, which is the polyunsaturated fats, it reacts to oxygen and heat and basically starts to go rancid, turning toxic, producing free radicals. So the unfortunate thing is that these have always been dubbed as healthy fats, but many studies actually show the opposite, and that these fats actually suppress the immune system. So what has PUFAs? Prepare yourself, friends. Pretty much all nuts and seeds. Peanuts, almonds, cashews, hazelnuts, sunflower seeds, cottonseed, canola oil, and most vegetable oils, which are literally horrible for you. Again, do your own research, but friend to friend, please try to not consume vegetable oils or canola oil anymore. They might be causing your body a lot of trouble. So yes, peanut butter, almond flour, almond butter, almond milk, all of that stuff contains PUFAs. I drank almond milk for literally years, like literally so long. And I avoided dairy milk like the plague, because I was always told, especially full fat dairy milk, because I was always told that that's really bad for you and nut milks are really good for you and way better. Now it can be more different for me. I haven't bought a nut milk in probably a year and a half, 2 years now. Which again, like, I was literally only consuming that for years. And now I'm buying raw dairy milk from a farm. I'm consuming as much dairy as possible, like organic dairy. It has to be quality dairy, so keep that in mind too. Like, you can't, I mean, you can do whatever you want, but like, if you're looking to heal your hormones, the quality is very, very, very important. So that's not me trying to sound my high horse. I'm just trying to give you some info. But raw milk is what we consume. It is the most nutrient dense that we have found. And organic milk from the store is the next best thing you can do. The pasture raised, organic, and all that stuff. I understand it can be pricey. Just do what you can. But if you are thinking, dairy milk is too expensive, I'll just buy almond milk. Please please hit stop. It's not gonna help you. Let's just put it that way. I used to also consume so much peanut butter, so much peanut butter. I would have it every single day with apples and all that. I really enjoyed peanut butter. And it was because I thought it was really, really healthy. I thought it was a healthy fat for you, but now I'm learning all these things. And so if you didn't understand what I was saying earlier, basically when these nuts are processed, like turning into a flour or a peanut butter or a milk or any of that, when they're exposed to oxygen or heat, they start turning rancid, which means in your body, it's very difficult to digest them. They're like, it's basically kind of attacking your body, for a lack of a better term. It's not the healthiest fat you could get, in my opinion, from my research. It's not like you can never have these again, so I don't want any of this video to like scare you out of any foods. I really don't. I mean, if you can avoid most things, especially like vegetable oil and canola oil, I would say that's the best bet you can do. But I understand, like, you know, sometimes I'm gonna have a Reese cup or like, you know, a peanut butter chocolate cake or something like that. You know, I'm not saying like never touch any of this again. But I will say that we naturally get PUFAs in so much food that we don't realize. Like restaurants, especially like mainstream restaurants that aren't like trying to be organic or whatever, most of the time they will use canola oil or peanut oil or vegetable oil to cook their things or different things like that. A lot of packaged things just have canola or vegetable oil in them naturally, not naturally, but like already, I should say. So you're already going to be exposed to PUFAs. So for us, we just try to not consume them at all in our home, because we already know when we're going out to eat or different things like that, or getting dessert somewhere or something, there's most likely PUFAs already in that our body's gonna be fighting. But again, like all of this, I encourage you to do your own research. Don't just take my word for it. Look up PUFAs, look up the risks of it, the effects of it, how it can harm you, all of that jazz. And from what I understand, PUFAs, basically your body reads PUFAs as estrogen. So when that happens, again, it causes your hormonal imbalance. It causes just your body to react like it is excess estrogen. I believe it might also cause estrogen to be produced. I don't 100% know in that part, but your body reads it as an estrogen. So that can be a lot of the reason that you might have painful periods or fertility issues or something like that, if you're consuming a ton of these PUFAs. By the way, I'm going to be linking down below some different Instagram accounts that are from nutritionists. Some are not nutritionists, but they're very informed and educated and all this stuff. I get a lot of my information from them, or I get a starting point from them and then I research it, whatever. I will list all those down below if you want some sources. So my next mistake that I made was, and I want to be careful when I say this, again, this was for me, I'm not giving you medical advice, this is for me, is my mistake was being on anti-anxiety and antidepressants. For as long as I was, and also I probably, if I knew then what I know now, I probably never would have gotten on them personally. And before I even get into this, please hear me when I say I'm not shaming anybody who is on any kind of medication. I am absolutely not. I promise you I am not. I just know that like I would have loved some of this information before I had gotten on these, especially as long as I was. And I wasn't told by anybody, including my doctors, and that's still on me. I should have researched it. But anyway, you make the choice that you need to make. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna be coming after you for any of this stuff. I'm not gonna be like, wow, you eat peanut butter? Like, I'm not doing that, you know? And so I'm basically just putting the information here and leaving it with you and going the other way. Like, you make the decisions for you, but I want you to be informed, you know, and make that decision with an informed mind. But the main point is that most antidepressants are SSRIs, which means they manipulate your body's natural serotonin and use chemicals to artificially reduce stress, anxiety, and depression. So there's no shame in this, but I want you to know it isn't natural. So that's coming from somebody who was on it for 8 years, okay? it isn't a natural form of dealing with depression and anxiety. It is artificial because it is full of artificial hormones. These medications directly affect your hormones, and even when you get off of them, it takes a while to recover and heal your body. So that's something you should know if you are considering this as an option in your life. They almost always lower your libido, if not completely eliminate your libido for a time, and they almost always cause some sort of weight gain, especially the longer you're on them. I experienced a pretty substantial amount of weight gain during a shorter period of time in my later years of being on this. And that's actually very common. I was researching that and I was like, oh my gosh, nobody told me this would happen or that there was a chance of this. Not to mention, if you are struggling with anxiety and depression, it could already be pointing to a hormonal imbalance. So like if you're contemplating medication for your anxiety and depression, again, no shame, but I'm just saying, if you are struggling with anxiety and depression, it could and most likely points to a hormonal imbalance that's already happening inside your body. So it might be worth it for you to research a little bit more about hormonal imbalance and maybe how to help with that and balancing your hormones out and getting to that root cause, so that, you know, maybe if you fix that, it can also help or even fix your anxiety and depression naturally. And the reason I say that is because something I didn't consider is that being on those antidepressants and anti-anxieties for so long, when I would decide to get off of them, it's not like it actually healed anything in me. It just covered it up. And so now I am dealing with having to heal those hormones to try to help with my anxiety and depression. So just weigh your options in that way. Hello, sorry for the interruption. I'm editing editing this video right now, realizing how freaking long it will be if I don't break it up into 2 videos. So this is the outro for this part 1 video, but part 2 is going to be live this Sunday. So come back for part 2, where you will get the rest of my reasons of how I wrecked my hormones. Yeah, I just figured this is a better way so that it can kind of break it up in case you don't have time for literally like a 50-minute video. Like, I'm serious. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Come back Sunday for the rest of the tips, and don't forget to comment down below. And again, I will have those sources down below for you to look into if you'd like. I love you guys so much. Bye!